So here's my cash overview that I want to go and have a look at. The system is going to load up, depending on your platform, really fast. And so what I'm doing is I am looking at what is my total cash situation going out across the company. So here it is based on the companies that I have. Here's the table of the pie chart. So who has what money or doesn't have money? What is my cash flow forecast based on what is currently set up in the system in terms of inflows and outflows? And then my forecasted currency balances, looking at 4 different currencies here: Canadian dollar, the euro, British pounds, and the US dollar. Down at the bottom, I have some more tabs, and this is where we're seeing Microsoft adding more and more functionality as they're expanding these tabs. And so this is where I can get report quality information that you could take this and use it as part of a financial set of reports without having to go and actually code any of this stuff. Just want to get that out of the way. And then over here on the right-hand side, I have my filters. So I can be filtering this for a specific day, a specific month. I could filter it for a specific company or a specific bank account. So within this out-of-the-box standard functionality, I have these filter options, and depending on the reports, the filters will change. If we go take a more detailed look at the currency forecast, again, it's looking at my transactions in the system and saying, you know, this is what your net impact is being. And I think my bank balances is just a little more detail on this chart, blowing it down a little more, and then giving me some subtotals in different currencies. And again, you'll see that my filters have changed based on the content of this screen. So the cash overview gives me just a really nice little feel for a whole lot of very, very important information inside of the company. For those of us that love our production, which is my happy space, the data here is not terribly exciting. I do apologize. But this looks a little more like a traditional workspace, but I have my embedded controls here, giving me some of the KPI information, and then comparing this month, last month, as some additional inventory insights, looking at inventory value over time. And this demo database is set to like 2018. So currently, you know, I'm just not using a whole lot of inventory here. But what it would show me is my beginning plus what I purchased, what I used, what I disposed of, my consumed materials into production, what I transferred in or out, what I sold out, and then what my ending balance is. And it does the same for work in progress. And this is the one that production people start getting a whole lot more excited about. I have a date range up here, so I can be looking at this for a specific date or a specific interval of time period. So lots of different ways of looking at this information and doing some analysis and some interrogation of the data. My inventory accounting analysis is giving me some analysis of my turnovers. And again, not the sexiest of data right now, but as I move over this chart, I'm getting this feedback in terms of how was my turnover happening for the various periods, what was my inventory net change, and then my inventory accuracy. And this is driving off of those KPI fields that we set up inside of D365. My manufacturing accounting analysis, I'm looking at my work in progress Ending balances, this is going year by year. I could look at it by period, my turnover rates, etc. And then I have a nice out-of-the-box view of standard cost variance analysis. So for those of you that love standard cost, and I do, you'll see a couple of things here. You'll see the system out of the box for the BI stuff is starting to use item group as a key driver for the out of the box reports. So all the new implementations that we're working on, we're really stressing to prospects and new customers, make sure that your item group is what you want it to be, because it's going to drive a lot of these out of the box reports. Here I'm looking at purchase orders, and it's giving me my top 10 purchase orders where my standard cost versus my purchase price are out of whack. So a nice go and look at these kind of report. My purchase price variance ratio. So overall, my variance from from standard to purchase price is only 1.77%. So this is one of those little KPIs that's giving us a nice indicator that we're 271,000 over standard, but how much are we buying? 15.28 million. This graph is taking this pie chart here, so the blue and the yellow, and it's looking at by quarter. So I can see by my item groups, which item groups are running less true to standard. So those of you that have been in the steel industry or anything that uses wood, we've all been struggling to keep up to date with those almost inflationary cost increases on those raw materials. And so this diagram would really help drive that information and alert people as to things that are going out of whack. And then if I'm running multiple sites, it's going to break it down for me by site, because maybe I have one site where the PPV just runs hot compared to another site. And why would that be? Is it the people? Is it the process? Is it the procedure? Is it the vendors? So another way of looking at purchase price variance by using the information we have to hand, those of us that are production people, yay, us production people, this is the exact same screen here, but looking at it for production orders. So today, my production people are just the spiffiest people in the world. I have no variances here. And it would give it to me by quarter. And here I start seeing what are those production price variances? Why am I getting a production variance? Is it the lot size? In other words, the optimal planned production quantity for this item is 100, but I went and made 10. So I've had to absorb all those extra setup costs. Is it a price of inbound materials? Is it a quantity issue that I should have made 10? I made 14, but I had to scrap 3. Did I have to substitute parts that my low cost part wasn't available? I had to use a higher cost part. Or is it a methods variance that it should have taken me 2 hours, but it took me 3 hours, or it should have taken me 4 hours and it took me 1 hour, and that's a positive variance, right? So these are some of the out of the box. I didn't have to write a single line of code. Let me just emphasize that again, because nobody ever wants me to write any code anytime. I didn't have to do anything. IT person, God bless him, our friend Nate, said to him, I need Power BI enabled on this box. And he did whatever the heck it is he had to do to enable it. And he said, is it working? And I came to the screens and I said, yes, thank you, it's working. The last batch I want to show you is the financial analysis. And it's warming it up. It's bringing down the data for me. And this is giving me a financial review of my company as I am sitting right now. I want to see if I can flip this date. I'm not going to flip the date. So I can look at my revenue, and this is revenue by company. This is my little mini skinny trial balance here for 2021. My expenses, my projected cash flow capital. Looking at some of our, current ratio, your assets versus liabilities. What's my current working capital, my GM, and then look at all these tabs I have down at the bottom here. That really allow me to dig into some of the things around expenses. Expenses by region. What's happening with my different divisions inside of the company? Where are the expenses happening? What is my revenue over my expenses? So in this month, my expenses exceeded my revenue. I have some sub-ledger insights, top 10 products by revenue, again, running off of the item group. So it's picking up those item groups, and this is what it's projecting out for me, and then cross-comparing that to the sales categories. Who are my top 10 customers? What does my aging look like? I had a conversation this morning. Someone was saying, why do we care about aging? And I'm like, well, there's this thing called GAAP, and getting our money from our customers. So here I have this real nice little bright blue chunk telling me I have 232K of accounts receivable. There are 5 customers that are delinquent, and they're running 180 days and over. Balances by my bank account, and then what do my purchases look like? How much are we buying? The trial balance, a lot of people get excited by this because it's almost, board quality. This is my standard trial balance. Here's a snapshot balance sheet, and I have these little buttons up here. There's this little upside down tree that it says expand all down one level. So if I click that, it'll start jumping this out one more level. And so I can drill down, or I can hit my little up button and drill up or consolidate up. So I can go up and down inside of these reports and drill down to my lowest levels. Looking at data by region, and this one I always get excited about because I've got actuals versus budgets. And again, I don't have a budget here right now, but I can keep drilling down. Income statement with variances. Similar view, except looking at my actuals as a percentage of revenue and my budget as a percentage of revenue. So I'm getting a slightly different view on my business. And then this is my 12-month trend that I can blow out by quarters and really get a different way of looking at my business. These are out-of-the-box reports. If I've said that once, I've said it a million times. It really gives me a good way of being able to analyze information at a deep level as well as a high level without having to code. I can add to this. I can modify it if I want to. I can bring in some Excel data from somewhere else if I have that, but I don't have to be a developer, and I don't have to look at big chunky data. So this kind of online reporting, expect to see more of it coming out of D365. I've just shown you some of them. There are more out there. There's more out there on costing. And they're really trying to give us information in some parts of the system where that information has been either hard to get or just kind of yucky.